Hey team, it's Coach Karina. We're going to work on some safe shoulder challenges for this brick. Our fit challenge during Summer Survivor Brick in 2018 is involving push-ups and handstands and jump rope, which are all fantastic ways for us to watch our athletes progress. However, if somebody has an existing shoulder problem or they maybe recently recovered from a shoulder problem, we need to be very careful not to wake that back up or not to flare it up. If somebody's got a shoulder thing and they're struggling through push-ups or they're doing as much as they can till it hurts, it's not going to help their shoulder get better. So it is our job to be protective first, then corrective, and then help our athletes develop, right? So first we're gonna protect them from more shoulder pain by giving them a separate challenge. There's two different choices that we can take here. First of all, I wanna encourage you, we did a ton of shoulder stuff last summer. We did a series on thoracic mobility, we did a series on shoulder mobility, and then a series on scapular stability. So that's all movement of the month. That was kind of May, June, July of last year. So I want to encourage you to go back and look at those drills. Those exercises are all fantastic substitutes for anybody that's got shoulder stuff going on in your classes. So maybe a good idea to take a few minutes and go back to some of those, just so you have a few exercises on board and ready to go when you have somebody that starts to complain of shoulder stuff, or if you see somebody that needs a little bit of adjustment to their workout because of a potential shoulder problem brewing. So there's two different challenges that we're going to try for this brick. One of them involves weight bearing through the shoulder, which is okay for some shoulder problems, and the other one will not have the shoulder, won't have any weight bearing through the shoulder. It just sort of depends on the kind of problem the person has. What I'd like you to try is try the weight bearing one first. If they're noticing any kind of pain, or if you notice that it's really hard for them to keep the form with that first challenge, then there's a second one to do. Both of them will really enhance someone's shoulder function. So it's a great thing to do as a challenge, but you gotta pick the right one. And of course you could just have them pick. You should just kind of demonstrate each one, this is what we're gonna work on, and they're gonna pick it for you. However, if there's any pain in the weight bearing version, I don't want you to let them do it. First, we're gonna try so we'll start with that. We'll start with the weight bearing one, and then we'll talk about the second one. Second one's gonna involve some tubing. For now, that's out of the way. What you're gonna do for the weight bearing shoulder stability challenge that doesn't involve push-ups, handstands, and jump rope, they can pick and choose which of those challenges they wanna do. But the push-up one and the handstand one are the ones I'm concerned about with shoulders. So jump rope, there's a lot of stability required and a lot of kind of repetitive movement, which some injured shoulders are going to be okay with and others won't. So I just want you to have some options. So we're going to start with knees up crawling. So I'm going to remind you kind of how to help somebody find their neutral spine on their hands and knees. And we're going to practice kind of moving forward and back. What the challenge will be, we'll be increasing the distance that they can go before a lacrosse ball falls off of their back. So most of you guys have lacrosse balls in your gyms. You use them for kind of self-mobility stuff. A lot of the girls have them at home. A tennis ball, a baseball, any kind of small ball will work well. So, basketball, probably a little too big. I got a little blue ball, okay? So, at first we don't need the ball. That's just gonna be kind of our marker and how we're gonna judge progress. So, we're on your hands and knees to start with. You're gonna find neutral. Remember, we do that by arching and then rounding and then arching and then coming to neutral, finding that neutral spine from the arch position. Now abs and glutes are on, ready to stabilize my back. My toes are tucked under, and I'm gonna pick my kneecaps 2 inches up off the floor. So now my shins are parallel to the floor. I'm gonna put my ball up on my back. As a coach, you would do that for them. And then we're gonna crawl. Left hand, right foot. Right hand, left foot. You keep going, the spine stays parallel to the floor as far as you can without that ball falling off. Back and forth like that. Now, if you really want to challenge them, you can also have them go backward. Maybe that's a thing we progress to as the weeks go on. So you can come up with maybe set out like a 10 or 20 foot area in your gym with maybe some markings with tape on the floor, and have them see how many laps they can do. Or maybe for the first 3 weeks, just forward and then come back. Maybe if you get to that end goal with that first 10 feet, then you start to come backward. The point is, this might be something that's hard to do even for a couple steps to start with. And with practice, whenever the group is working on push-ups, they can be working on this. You can even have them, so as far as like during workouts, how you're gonna help them, You can even just have them be stationary. They even don't even need the ball. That's just feedback for like how you know that you're keeping your stability, because that's going to fall if it's not flat, right? But even if you're not going anywhere, you can still go hand up, foot up, and kind of go around the world like that, and try to keep the spine stable. That's challenging, and you can, if you kept that going for a minute or something like that, it'd be really tough. But that's only okay if the shoulder's okay with some weight going through it, right? So the knees up crawl for distance is our first shoulder safe challenge. But if that shoulder that we're talking about doesn't particularly like the weight going through it, we need to find something different. So then we're going to our tubing. And what we're going to do is 3 different shoulder exercises in different positions. So I'm going to show you here up on my knees because that's how you're going to be able to see it the best. But I want you to start with them on the floor. So if you do this in supine, lying flat on your back, legs might be just bent a little bit, maybe their feet are resting up on a box. That helps the lower spine stay neutral. And we're just going to work on it lying down on our backs first, and then we'll gradually move toward a vertical position. So position 1 is lying on your back. Position 2 is kneeling, so tall kneeling, kind of standing up on your knees like this. Position 3 will be standing, and we'll kind of progressively come through these levels. And again, the standing against the wall will be sort of an intermediary, but progressing through those levels over the course of the 6 weeks will not only protect their shoulder from the pain that they may get with a lot of push-ups, but it will also really enhance their shoulder and actually fix it. So, of course, anybody that's got ongoing shoulder things, these things need to be approved by a doctor, so or by their medical professional. So just have them clear it with them and have them discuss what you're helping them do, and make sure that they're not under any restrictions that you need to be aware of. So I'm going to show you here kneeling because that's how you're going to be able to see it the best. Our first one is a T. So you're lying flat on your back to start with. You start with your arms pointing toward the ceiling, or if once you're vertical, they're horizontal like this. So basically you got a 90-degree angle from the trunk up to the arm. And you're starting with the shoulder blades squeezed together and you come out to a big T. We call this horizontal abduction. Sometimes it's called a reverse fly. You're pulling straight out like that. You're just making a big T against the resistance of the band. The goal is to have the work felt in the upper back, in the backs of the shoulders. The neck should not get tired. So you go for your T-bar. That's our first one. And then we're doing a right diagonal. So my right arm goes up in the air, my left arm goes down. The hand that's up, that palm is facing up if I'm on the floor, forward. And the one that comes down, that palm is now facing down or back. And then I switch to a left diagonal. Arms go forward to a right diagonal. You notice I'm coming through this position in the front and I'm not just switching like this because it puts a lot more stress on the shoulder joint to do this kind of motion. If we start here and go to here and come back, that works a lot better. So like I said, position 1 is lying down. You do T's, right diagonals, left diagonals. Once they're capable of doing that and they're feeling the appropriate thing, their neck is not getting tired, you see good quality, full movement, they're not stopping part way, then we can progress to a more vertical position. The closer you are to the ground though, the easier it is to balance. And so we'll go to tall kneeling for those same exercises, your T, your right diagonal, your left diagonal. Once that's okay, you go do the same exact exercises leaning up against your wall. Now that you're standing, you have a little bit more challenge because you're holding yourself up a little more, but you have the feedback with the wall of where you're supposed to go. Even without band, doing a T and diagonals up against a wall, very, very helpful because you have that you got something to push into, you can push hard, but your spine is staying in the right position because you've got the wall to help. Of course, then it's a progression to go out in the middle of the room and do it where you don't have any support. But that would be the next thing. You're standing tall and you have no support, but you have such great thoracic extension and such great shoulder mobility and shoulder blade stability that you're working out just fine. So my suggestion with that is to do maybe a set of 10 of each of those positions, a T, a right diagonal, a left diagonal, cycle through for 10, lying down. If that's okay, you can progress to tall kneeling. If that's okay, you progress to the wall, standing. If that's okay, then you progress to standing with the tubing in the middle of the room. You can also, so you can slide up and down these things, and giving an athlete the 6 weeks to progress through that whole thing. And if they're doing it once a day, of course they could keep working on this at home even on the days that they don't work out. But if they're doing that once a day, about a set of 10 to 15 of each of those, or a variety of those throughout the workout, they're going to get better, and you're going to change your life. So thank you for listening all the way to the end. That was a long bit on challenges for Brick, but if you've got people with shoulder injuries, they're going to need this help. Please call, let me know, or shoot me a message, let me know if there's anything else I can do to help as you go through this challenge with your athletes. I hope you guys all have a great Brick. Mwah! Happy summer!